Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video we'll learn many basic checkmating endgames. For example, this queen versus bishop, then queen versus knight. But we'll skip this root endgame part as this is quite complex for this level. As there is 6th rank defense and then there is 7th rank defense and also many checkmating tricks. For example, placing this surprising move, and then we must capture it, else if we move elsewhere our queen will be gone and this is anyways draw. So we must capture this. Now this is a stalemate as this square is covered by king and there are no checks. So then this endgame is very complex, so we'll skip this part and I will cover this endgame in another video. Then after we'll move to pawn queen versus pawn endgame, especially at the 7th rank. And before any other rank, we'll simply place our queen to the last square and this pawn can never promote. But in this case, we cannot place in the last square as it is protected by um, the king. So there is very simple trick here and we'll learn that. But the pawn, if the pawn is in third file, first and 8th file, or in 6th file, then this will be a draw. It means if the pawn is in h2, s2 or s7, this much. If the pawn is in this 8 squares, this 4 for black and this 4 for white, then this will be a draw and we'll see how that occurs. And finally we'll solve this one problem. So let's start. So let's start with queen versus bishop. We apply a very simple technique here, that is if the opponent have light square bishop which can only move to this light squares, we always put our pieces into the dark squares and we gradually slowly push this opponent king into the corner and we checkmate like regular queen versus like regular queen in game. And let's start. So let's avoid this check. Now we keep pushing this king backward and we always place our king and queen in the dark squares so that this bishop will have no effect. Okay, let's give a check. We keep pushing this king. Okay. Note how I have not placed my pieces into any of the light squares. Okay. Now I'll bring my king here. Then always in the dark squares. Okay. Always in the dark squares. Okay. Now this is a checkmate. So this is a checkmate. Note how I have not captured this piece. This is as useless as there is no any other piece, as it cannot cover any of the dark squares, and all we do is always put our king and queen in the dark squares. So this is very simple. Okay, then let's move to queen versus knight, and in this case the knight is very tricky. It can always fork our king and queen, so all we need to do is avoid the fork. So let's start. Let's give a check and keep pushing this king to the last rank. This is the pin. All we need to do is avoid a fork. So be careful about that. That means always put your king and queen in different colors, as it can never fork both while uh, they both are in different color. For example, if this knight is in dark square, it will always attack light squares. So placing in different squares will never result in a fork, so it will be slowly will win this game. Oh, sorry, I should not have repeated. Okay, now we'll simply capture if he ever plays. So let's I must go here, else we'll capture this knight. Let's look at this. If we put to d3, there comes the fork, so we must avoid that. So let me give a check first. Again, let me give a check. Now we can come forward. I did put both of them in these light squares to make a progress. Hmm. So it will take some time, but we'll win. Okay. Hmm. Now we need to push it to this file. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Hmm. Abort the fork and you will win. And at last you fork this queen and knight with your queen and will win. Now wherever he places his knight, it's a fork. He simply give away his knight, but even if he had placed it to other squares, we will give a few checks and then it will be a fork. Okay, let's capture it and now we'll simply win. Okay, so this is the checkmate. Now it's time for, okay, we skip that rook part I mentioned in the introduction part of this video. Now we start with queen versus 7th rank pawn. So how to win this game? So all we do is either we put our queen in front of this pawn, or we force this king to go to that square and block his own pawn from promoting. So how we achieve that? So let's simply give a check. All we need to do is put our queen to this square behind this pawn, and we'll see how we'll do that. We cannot promote, we can capture. So keep going forward. We cannot promote, we can capture. Now we achieve our okay. Now we achieve our uh goal. Now give check from that next square, and he is forced to go and block his own pawn. Now we bring our king. What we do is bring our king up to somewhere here and capture this pawn. So we repeat the process. We simply repeat the process. Okay, we simply repeat the process. Give a check, move forward, place it behind that pawn, and after that give check from this square. So this is very simple. Now we move our king. It will take time, but we'll achieve to checkmate this king within 50 moves. Okay. Now we move our king. Okay. Now a few more steps. It is pinned, it cannot move forward. Okay, after this it is very simple. We simply repeat the process, and okay, now it is capturable, and this is a checkmate. So it was very simple. What we do is put our queen behind the pawn and force this king to block his own pawn. Then we bring our king from anywhere it is, step by step, and we repeat the process. So but this has its own limitations, as the H file and F, C and A 7th rank pawn are not capturable that way, as it will result in a draw. For in this case, we give a check. Okay, now he no longer needs to block his own pawn. He can simply move here. Then we cannot capture this pawn, as this will result in a stalemate. So the C file and I mean first, third, sixth, and last file 7th rank pawn are a draw. So no need to continue from here, as we cannot even move our king. He will simply promote, and it will be a stalemate. Similarly, for this case, if it is in a first or last file, then it will be also a stalemate, as if we try to bring our king, neither this king can move, nor this pawn can move, so this will be a stalemate. So these are the cases for stalemate, and we need to avoid that. For example, we have one simple exercise in this case. Sorry. So we have this simple exercise, and we need to decide which pawn are we going to capture. If we capture this pawn, let's see, capture, promotes. uh, promotion will result in a draw. Even if this pawn will be at this square, it will be a draw, as this is in the 6 files, so we need to avoid that. So we must capture this pawn, and after this it is simple tactic like previously discussed. We simply put our queen behind that pawn, and it is all simple. Simply we repeat the process. uh, and it will result in a, oh, what is this? I can simply capture, so it will simply result in a checkmate. So this is how we use our endgame knowledge uh, to create that position. For example, we create this position, and after that we know how to win the game. So we intentionally create that position by capturing this pawn. So this is how chess works. This is how middle games work. We try to create the end games in which we are more favorable to win. So this was for today. I'll see you in the next video.